Welcome back to the video lecture series on embedded systems. This is lecture number 4. In the previous lecture, we have discussed about various uh, units in the architecture of the ARM Cortex M3, and we shall continue the same now. So, already we have gone through this simplified view of ARM Cortex M3. So, in that, we have explored few of the units like decoder, instruction fetch, and other things in detail. In this lecture, we shall see the details of register bank, memory protection unit, and interrupt controller, that is non-vectored interrupt controller. So, coming to the register bank, as we can see here, so ARM Cortex M3, it has got totally 15 register R0 to R15. So out of these 15 registers, all are 32-bit wide only. So that means if you consider any register over here, say for example, if I consider the R0 register, so R0 register, I can access it like this. So its capacity is 0 to 31, LSB and MSB. So out of R0 to R15 register, only R0 to R12, they are meant for general purpose use only. Hence, these are named as general purpose registers. And in that, it has been divided them as R0 to R7 as low registers and R8 to R12 as high registers. So we shall see the details why these things have been done in module number 2. So this is the continuation of architecture only. Just you need to know the overview. Then R13 is called as stack pointer. So R14 is called as link register and R15 is program counter. Here the one of the main feature of the ARM is the stack pointer is divided into two types. One is main stack pointer and another one is process stack pointer. The user can select one of the stack pointer using a special register called as control register, which we shall see in the coming classes or coming slides. Now, if we explore these registers R0 to R12, so as I told, R0 to R12 are 32-bit general purpose registers for data operation. Some 16-bit thumb instruction can only access a subset of these registers, that is R0 to R7. So which were earlier we have seen them. So they are referred as low register, that is R0 to R7 are meant for thumb instructions also along with ARM instruction. So any 32-bit operation can also be performed, but if you want to perform 16-bit operation, then you must use only R0 to R7 only. Okay. Then R13 is the stack pointer. So as I told, they are banked so that only one is visible at the time. So two stack pointers are there, main stack pointer and process stack pointer. Only one can be used, but the default one is main stack pointer. Okay. So if you want to use for user, we have process stack pointer. So as I mentioned earlier, here also I am again mentioning while discussing the push and pop operation and also special register, we shall see these things in detail. The lowest two bits of the stack pointer are always 0, which means they are always word aligned. So that means if you take the any stack pointer out of the two. So what they have mentioned is bit number 0 and 1, they will be always having the value as 0 only. So rest all bits will give you the desired value. Okay. Then R14 is the link register. Usually the link register is used for subroutine call and to return also. So normally we see the concept of subroutine, something like the very popular instruction called as call and return. So whenever a processor is doing some task A, if an interrupt requires task B to be carried out, so it will call the processor. So what it will do, processor is task A where it is working, so that present instruction which is being executed with respect to task A, so that will be stored in stack pointer. That address will be available there. Then it will jump to task B, and after completing this task B, so it can go back to the task A where it was left earlier through accessing the stack with the return address. So it is just like if you are addressing something, if somebody asks you some question, so you have to halt there or you have to stop there and you have to give the answer to that particular question and you have to go back to the presentation where you stopped. Okay. Similarly, program counter. Program counter, the main job of the program counter is to count the address of the next instruction to be executed. Okay. So we shall see the details of R13, 14 and 15 in the module 2 again. Then we have some special registers. So if you consider the special register, the Cortex M3 processor also has a number of special registers. They are as follows. One is program status register, interrupt mask register, then control register. So the details will be discussed in the coming classes, but anyway, program status register. Usually it is referred as the flag register. uh, upon performing certain arithmetic and logical instructions. So, if any carry is generated, so that will be indicated by the carry flag or carry register. Similarly, if the result of some ALU operation is 0, so that will be indicated by 0 flag. So, like that, many registers are there under the program status register. Then interrupt mask register. We have three interrupt mask register: pre-mask, fault mask, and base free register. So as the name itself suggests, to mask registers which are used to mask the interrupt. If any interrupts are being generated, you can control them. You can stop them. That is the meaning of masking. So that can be achieved by using these registers, except the non-maskable interrupt. And one more is the control register, which is main purpose is to provide access to either MSP or PSP. Okay, that is main stack pointer or process stack pointer. Okay, and to access these special registers, we need to use certain special functions using the special instruction. They cannot be used for normal data processing. Okay, then as I mentioned, the flag register XPSR. It is also called as XPSR, program status register, and interrupt mask register. Three mask registers are there, and one more is the control register. All these three main registers are called as special registers. Okay, so as I told, for pre-mask, fault mask, and base pre, it is used to mask certain interrupts. So, which interrupt can be masked using the pre-mask is hard fault. Okay, then using fault mask, you can interrupt all the you can mask all the interrupts. Sorry, so except NMI. And base pre, it used to disable all interrupts of specific priority level or low priority level. So whenever interrupt is being addressed, it can be either in three levels: high level, medium, or low. If an interrupt is at low level, it can be stopped by using the base pre-register, or you can change the level to high to medium and medium to low, then you can stop it. Okay, so control register, as I told, for accessing the stack pointer. So one more block is the nested vector interrupt control. So nested vector interrupt control in Cortex M3 processor, which is included. So it acts like an interrupt controller called the nested vector interrupt controller. It is close. The main features of this is nested interrupt support, vectored interrupt support, dynamic priority change support, reduction of interrupt latency, and interrupt masking. So nested interrupt support means external interrupts, all external interrupts and most of the system exception can be programmed to different priority level. As I mentioned earlier, the different levels: high, medium, and low. So when an interrupt occurs, the NVIC compares. So how it will change the priority levels? It compares the priority of this interrupt to the currently running priority level. So if the priority of the new interrupt is higher than the currently executing interrupt, so then it will stop the currently executing interrupt and it will allow the new interrupt to run. Okay, so that is the meaning of nested interrupt support. Nested means in nested loop means what? Something like nested if statement. Two if statements, right? Within the two loops. So vectored interrupt support. When an interrupt is accepted, the starting address of the interrupt service routine is located from the vector table in memory. Say in 8051, we had seen or we have external interrupt, something like called as reset, whose value is whose value is, if you consider that for reset we have in 8051 its value is 0003. This is the location where the address of the vectored interrupt is available. So if you access 0003 address, you can access the reset interrupt. So it is also called as what? Interrupt service routine, located in the interrupt vector table in the memory. There is no need to use software to determine and branch to the starting address of the ISR. Okay, thus it takes less time to process the interrupt request. Then third one is dynamic priority changes support. Dynamic means with respect to time. Static means the fixed value. So priority levels of interrupts can be changed by software during the runtime. As I told, from high to medium, medium to low, or medium to high, or medium to low, low to high, low to medium. Okay, so that is also supported. Then reduction of interrupt latency. The Cortex M3 processor also includes a number of advanced features to lower the interrupt latency. Interrupt latency means providing service to the external interrupt or internal interrupt and switching back to the main program. So time elapsed within that, it should be very short, so that the main program should not get halted for longer interval of time. Okay, so this is very less in case of Cortex M3 processor. Okay, so these include features like automatic saving and restoring some register contents, reducing delay in switching from one ISR to another. Say one very basic example is like if you are doing some UPI payments through some portal, you will get OTP. So OTP is an interrupt to the main UPI process. So if OTP is not generated properly, so main program will be in a halt state. So you need to get the OTP quickly, and also the same should be decoded or verified quickly also. That is something like reducing the latency in the interrupt and providing the required service. So if you consider the nested vector interrupt control, the further features. So interrupts and system exception can be masked based on their priority level. Again, the same thing what we discussed. They can be used to ensure that time critical task can be finished on time without being interrupted. Okay. So then we have memory protection unit. So memory protection unit. So as I told earlier, it is the one of the very unique feature of ARM. The Cortex M3 has an optional memory protection unit. It is an optional unit. Okay, but what is the use of that? This unit allows access rules to be set up for privileged access and user program access. So that means privilege means having some freedom. So certain instructions can access the memory. So certain instructions are allowed, but all user programs, they may not be allowed to access the memory. So that is available in this case. So it is like maintaining the privacy here. Okay. When an access rule is violated, how it should be notified? So just to make you understand, like in your Gmail and all, you have two-step verification. So if you have if your password is hacked, or if some other person is using your account in some other system, so we'll get a notification immediately. So that is like violation. So other users are not allowed to access your server. So if that happens, a fault exception is generated. That is like a warning message in case of Gmail. And that fault exception handler will be able to analyze the problem. That means if you are comparing with that Gmail process, it will give you the detail where all your email has been accessed, the location. And not only that, it will allow you to correct it also, right, if possible. Same thing here also, it is available. So it can be used in many ways. One common scenario is the OS can set up the memory protection unit to protect data used by OS kernel and other privileged process. Okay. And MPU can also be used to make memory regions read only, to prevent accidental erasing of data. So something like the PDF what we have. PDF files generally they are like read only. You cannot edit them until you have the PDF editor with you. So here also the same thing. So this is the one unique feature but it is an optional feature for this. Okay, so this completes the architecture description of the ARM Cortex M3 processor. Thank you.